Okay, so this is our last one. I apologize. I thought as I was teaching this lesson, I thought about another example or situation that I hadn't included that y'all needed a little more practice with. So we're gonna try it on this one. It's a little more complicated. So make sure this is basically your black slide. Make sure you are including this in your notes. So we have 3/8 minus 4/5. Now remember, we can rewrite this subtraction problem as an addition problem, but we do have to change. I'm going to rewrite it down here so that you have both in your notes. We can rewrite this as, instead of subtracting 4/5, as adding negative 4/5. It doesn't matter either way. It's down 4/5, which is negative 4/5. So we have 3/8 and negative 4/5. These are different, so we're going to have to subtract them. We also hopefully have noticed that we do not have common denominators, 8 and 5. So there are lots of ways to go about this, but I am going to try to think of a number that both of these have in common, because I cannot just take 4/5 and turn it into 8s, because 5 doesn't like multiply to get 8 in any way. But what I can do is I can come out to the side and I can write down like the multiples of 8. 8 times 1 is 8, times 2 is 16, 24, 32, 40. And I've gotten to a number that ends in a 0, which means I think, come out here, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. If you remember your divisibility rules, all numbers that end in 0 or 5 are divisible by 5. So 40 is what they have in common. So I'm going to have to, this is a little bit more work. I'm going to have to take both of these and turn them into 40ths. So I'm going to come out here and I'm going to take 3/8 and turn it into 40ths. 8 times 5 equals 40, so I have to do that on top as well. And that means that 3/8 is the same as 15 40ths. Okay, now I need to do that for 4/5. How do I get 5 to turn into 40? How do I transform that? I can do 5 times 8. That will make 40. And I can do that same thing up top. 4 times 8 is 32. So now 4/5 is transformed into 32 40ths. And that is a negative. Do not forget that it is a negative 32 40ths, okay? And you can put those parentheses in if it kind of helps you keep all of that. And those are messy. Let me fix it. If it keeps all that a little bit neater for you. Okay, so now we're finally able to subtract these, which is what we said. We have a positive and a negative, so we're able to subtract them the way that we wanted to, and we're going to put the larger number first. 32 minus 15. We're going to keep our denominator the same. And we're going to I'm running out of room here. I'm going to come over here, 32 minus 15. We know that 2 minus 5 is not going to work. It's going to end up in a negative number. So we're going to borrow from the 10s and add 10 to our 1s column. So now we have 12. 12 minus 5 is 7. 2 minus 1 is 17. So now we have 17 40ths as our answer. And if you look back at our common denominators, when we have put them in common denominators, again, it's a little hard to tell here in the when we have two different fractions with different denominators which one's larger. But when we look at the common denominator ones in the 40ths, we see 32 is more than 15, so we have more negatives, which means our answer should be negative. I know that was a lot. Let's try this one. You try this one on your own, okay? So try it on your own and then check back to see if you got the correct answer. Should have gotten 2/3 minus 1/4. Okay, and we can change this to adding a negative 1/4. And so now, are they the same or different? They are different, which means we're going to have to subtract them. Once again, we have different denominators, unlike denominators. We have 3 and 4 as our denominators. So what we want to do is 2/3 minus 1/4 over here. But we kind of can't until we have a common denominator. So what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of that. You can cross it out or erase or whatever. And I'm going to find a common denominator between 3 and 4. So I'm going to make multiples of 3 until I'm happy, I guess. Let's do a couple more. Okay, and then I'll come out here and do 1 until I see one in the same. They don't have 4 in common, they don't have 8 in common, but they do have 12 in common. So 12 is what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to get 2/3 into 12ths. So 3 can turn into 12ths by multiplying by 4. Got to do the same thing on top. 4 times 2 is 8. So 2/3 is the same as 8/12ths. Same thing for 1/4. Turn it into 12ths. How do I get from 4 to 12? I multiply by 3. Got to do the same thing on top. 1 times 3 is 3. So 1/4 is the same as 3/12ths. Now we have a problem we can work with. And again, you can include those parentheses if it to keep that a little neater. Okay, so we have 8/12ths and negative 3/12ths. Those are different, so we're going to subtract. 8 minus 3 is 5, so you should have 5/12ths as your answer. And I can go and I can look at the old version, and it is a little, this one's not as difficult, but it can be to tell which one's larger, so feel free to look at the one with the common denominators. That's the easiest way to tell which fraction is larger. 8 is more than 3, of course, so our answer should be positive. We have more positives than negatives. So your answer should be 5/12ths. That is all for today. You're about to work on this independently. Feel free to come back to any of these videos or refer to your notes. If you are feeling like you need help, let us know.